Thank you for joining us. I'm ABC 24 anchor Pepper Baker. Shelby County primaries on May 5th will be here before you know it, and we are profiling as many candidates as we can to help you make an informed decision at the polls. So for our second interview with the top Democratic candidates running for Shelby County Clerk, we have District 10 Commissioner Britney Thornton joining us today. Britney, thank you so much for being here.
It's always a pleasure to be with you.
Perfect. So you are running for Shelby County Clerk.
I am running.
Let me ask you why.
You know, it's a really good question. So I'm running because this is an office that touches every single household in Shelby County. So it's an important office. And when we see that our people are standing in long lines and they are frustrated from, you know, having to take off work and just not being able to get the service that they know that they deserve, we deserve a great leader that's going to be able to serve the interests of right now. So I believe that I'm the best leader. You know, branding myself as the best bang for your buck candidate. And I just look forward to just unpacking more of your questions today. Because, you know, we need people to turn out to vote more than anything. It's a very important election. Every 8 years, we have this huge opportunity to elect up and down our offices. And so I just want people not to miss the moment because we know that we've been missing a lot by standing in these lines.
And that's exactly why we thought it was important to ask you here today. So you're the candidate that gets the more bang for your buck.
Yeah.
Why is that?
You know, I just... this race has the most candidates out of all the other races. There are 10 of us. And so, you know, I look at people with the mayoral races and just, you know, how are you going to make your decision? And then here's the county clerk's race that has 10 candidates. So I'm the only sitting elected that's actually running. And so from just my proven track record of public service and just shown heart for the people, I just really believe that I am a generational leader that's going to get in and do what needs to be done, which interestingly, as we talk, we're going to talk a lot about why we need to modernize this office. And what better generation to do it than a millennial? Okay,
and I am a fellow millennial myself, so I understand that. But you are a familiar face, you know, and you proudly represent Orange Mound as well. But for people who may not be familiar with you, you know, I always like when the candidates kind of tell us a little bit about yourself and just your background.
Yeah, so I'm a proud native Memphian by way of historic Orange Mound, which is just a huge pride point for me. I'm a current resident of Orange Mound, and I've had the opportunity to step into service, serving 20,000 residents in my home community, and now 75,000 residents as a Shelby County Board of Commissioner. And I'm the youngest woman elected to the Shelby County Board of Commissioners, so I consider myself to be a generational leader holding a seat at the table for the largest voting bloc in Shelby County, this millennial generation. Though, you know, we're still trying to figure out how we're going to turn out to vote. Our elders are still holding us down.
That's true.
But we have the numbers, and so we have the interest, particularly with this clerk's office. So when we think about who is going to file the marriage licenses, it's going to probably be us in the next 8 years. When we think about the working families and the parents who cannot afford to take off, and they need to get to their children to pick them up so they avoid, you know, the fees and fines that come with picking your child up late, is our generation. And so when I think about it, the opportunity to be able to serve the interests of over 600,000 citizens in Shelby County, it's a huge honor, and I definitely believe that Britney Thornton is the best way to go.
That's well said, and you already mentioned some of the responsibilities that fall under the clerk's office, but just to get a clear understanding, what is the Shelby County clerk's responsibility?
You know, this is Memphis, right? So everything has some type of short form, I would say. So when I'm out canvassing, a lot of people call this the tax office. You know, that's what people understand it to be. And so this is the office that, you know, you purchase your license and your tags and you renew them here. It's also where you get your marriage license and your business license. And I was just looking at some of the commission documents before I came, and there's so many other fees that are collected in this office. So when we think about an office that's running an $8 million personnel and supply budget, and having hundreds of millions over the course of the annual fiscal cycle come through this office, it's a pretty important office, and it's one that I hope that people are really motivated to see the right leader in place.
And you're not unfamiliar to handling budgets because you're a current county commissioner. So how does your experience as county commissioner, you think, going to kind of transfer over to the county clerk's office?
I think it's going to be a huge asset. You know, a lot of times we say that we don't want to see, you know, these longstanding career politicians traditions keep going on. Memphis is known for, I mean, when I go to state conferences, a lot of my colleagues, they've served for 20, 30 years. And I'm like, I'm from Shelby County, you know, you get that 8-year max to be able to serve. So when I think about just co-managing a $1.6 billion budget and what that has meant in terms of, you know, being sharp, competent, capable as a leader to be able to have oversight of so much money, then I've taken that, you know, as a huge responsibility and performed well, ensuring to get unprecedented amount of dollars for my district, which is known to be an underserved district. So I fought heavily for citizens of Shelby County, from, you know, the most privileged, the big contract holders, down to everyday, you know, folks that are just living in our blue collar communities, and they're working hard, and they are hoping that government will hold space for them. So, you know, I get excited to be able to have these opportunities to just pinpoint, you know, my track record of service and what I've been able to do for Shelby County, because I love our county so much.
Yeah, I can feel the passion, and I do want to kind of unpack your time in the commission a little bit later on, but what are the biggest challenges right now that the county clerk's office is facing, and how do you plan to come in and improve that?
Yeah, it's been painful to sit back and just see the headlines. You know, there have been so many over the years, and I've really studied this office for, you know, this almost 4 years of my term as a commissioner. And so whether it be, you know, audits in compliance or not being in compliance, satellite locations closing, the need to pay rent, you know, there have been a lot of different and varied headlines that just show that there are challenges within the office. So when we think about, you know, the opportunities for us to reduce the service times and get people out of these long lines, to modernize our systems. This office is operating off of Windows 7. And I don't know how many people have tried to do that, but, you know, that all contributes to some of these even customer service complaints that I'm hearing from people. And, you know, we know that we need the technology to serve our interests. And this is the age of AI. Like, things should be able to move efficiently, and we should be able to have an accessible platform that doesn't leave people confused when they come to the office. So it has a number of challenges, but, you know, I believe I'm the right leader for right now to be able to come in and fix them for sure.
Yeah, so specifically on some of those, the current clerk had, in our reporting, had kind of attributed bad systems or just outdated systems, and then particularly that Millington lease that was really taking headlines, and not having a concrete agreement about who was going to pay rent. So is that something that you would kind of shore up with the commission, or since you have that experience of just making sure there is a written record of who's supposed to pay what and who the onus is on?
Yeah, you know, things change over time. So, you know, I've had the opportunity to talk with the current clerk to better understand her posture of, you know, not being the signator on a lease agreement that exists. But at the end of the day, when we're using the particular facility, we have to pay the rent. Nobody gets to stay for free. And so there is a cost associated with us having, you know, hundreds of people coming in through the offices every single day. And so, you know, when we think about the oversight of the office, I'll just continue to be able to ensure that we're using technology. What's interesting to me from the perspective of a commissioner is that 60% of the transactions in this office, when it comes to the renewals, they can be done remotely. So you're standing in line when you should just be going to the grocery store and on your way out renewing, you know, your tags. And so in the process of us doing that, it's also going to free up a lot of space. So if the people are doing the remote functions, and even the auto dealers have some very interesting ideas, they want to be able to issue licenses on site. Imagine what that will do to those, right? It only makes sense.
Oh, yeah,
and these
huge.
things are happening in other counties. And so that's something that I'm also just really excited about, to be able to implement what's already been implemented at a high standard. So we don't have to reinvent the wheel. That's the good thing, you know, to the public. We don't have to. It's not rocket science here. We just have to be able to have the right leader in place to do what needs to be done. And it's very important who you elect, because if that leader is not, you know, willing, then it won't happen. You know, the duly elected official that we put in place, it really matters. And so I've learned that as a county commissioner, and I look forward to serving as the next Shelby County Clerk, to be able to bring back, you know, order and trust and just high operation to the Shelby County Clerk's office.
You did display a really great example of transparency in one part of your term as commissioner, and that was under the grant allocation process, where you you were able to give $1.8 million to nonprofits, particularly serving the youth, which you have a huge passion about. One of those organizations had a little bit of controversy with the video, and you immediately seemed to address the public about that. And I'm only asking this because also under the term there was a little bit of some controversy with another fellow commissioner who's now a former commissioner for fraud, and you had been vocal about supporting that person at one point. So how do you get voters to trust that you can come in to an office that has to deal with collecting money and keeping records and making sure the money is being allocated where it is, particularly with what you've seen under your term as commissioner?
Yeah, it's a loaded question.
It is. It's a lot. I know.
And it's one that I really just, think about often. Like the headlines, they erode public trust. And so it's hard to sit in a role where you're asking people to believe in you, to trust in what you can do, and what we are doing with the $1.6 billion every single year that is being re-upped through, their tax-paying duty that they do and choose to do here in Shelby County. And citizens want to be able to trust that their dollars are going where the needs are. And so when we think about, the quick decision that I had to make to be able to reallocate the dollars, I took it from an organization that, headlined as it did and went through its investigation process, and that is where it is. And I put it immediately into our young adults, where we know that there needs to be more investment. Our 18 to 35-year-olds, once you turn 18, it's just a cliff. There's not a lot of programming that supports our young adults. And so, making those crucial decisions, it's just what a leader has to do. And so when it comes to, the fiscal oversight, I am looking forward to yet my fourth and final budget season on the county commission, where we have a great obligation to be able to provide public safety, public health, and investing in our public schools. And so the same regard that I've taken as county commissioner, I'm going to take into the clerk's office to ensure that we're meeting the deadlines, that we are producing the reports needed to keep county government going. And so these are things that from the outside I've looked to and seen have stalled government. And I just know that having the right leader with the right team. And I really want to talk more about just the team component.
Go ahead.
Because it is important for us to be able to realize that no one person is going to get all the work done. The team that comes on board is going to be very important. And so I'm looking for competent, leaders that are willing to serve. And then also I'm just really encouraged by the amount of people who've come into my inbox and they've said, I have this experience and I would love for you just to be mindful as you cross over to become our next Shelby County Clerk. So the trust factor is there, and I look forward to continuing to serve in this role.
Yeah, you've certainly had a lot to learn from, so
Yeah.
I feel like you probably know what not to do and how to do it better.
For sure.
So then relationships,
Yeah.
since you talk about even having the right team, but there's also other factors you have to consider as county clerk and who you have to work with, and that's other elected bodies,
Yeah.
other elected officials. How would you describe the clerk's office right now in that relationship to the county mayor's office and to the county commission?
We see a lot of contention in county government between the sheriff and the mayor, between the clerk and the trustee, the clerk and the mayor. And so, and we've also just seen the stall that comes on the other side of all of these contentious relationships. And so it's why I get excited about this fresh start. This 2026 election is going to position a new slate of leaders that are going to be able to immediately jump in and establish new working relationships. And so, I lean in heavily in what I've learned at the state level. I'm appointed to the Tennessee County Commission Association. So I have the opportunity to just get out of, what sometimes feels like the Memphis muck and move and see how other counties are operating. And so it's been great to sit down with other clerks from across the county. And recently, this week actually, I'm going to announce a new endorsement from Clerk Monica Gordon out of Cook County. So it's the second largest county clerk's operation in the nation. And she's ready to, support Shelby County as best she can. I'll be doing a site visit to be able to see a high functioning office. And I look forward to just not only just relying on what we have here, but also leaning outside to be able to see what is working in other places and use it as a point of reference to bring this operation up to a standard. So, we know that that we're electing a culture setter, the next person is going to have to come in and really work to repair all of this brokenness that is surrounding the clerk's office. And this is work that I've done. You know, I've done it at the neighborhood level, now at the district level, and I love and look forward to being able to serve Shelby County.
Wonderful. And you're right, there's going to be a new county mayor, and there's going to be quite a few new county commissioners.
Yeah.
And you as a current county commissioner, so you are confident that your, I guess, standing as county commissioner, that's one of the strengths to transfer into county clerk with the relationships you've built already in public office.
Yeah, I mean, you know, this clerk's office engages with state partners and leaders, and engages with department heads, elected officials that will carry over to continue to serve. And so for 4 years, I've been working with and relying heavily on these individuals, and not to mention our civil service workers. You know, they are the constant. They're the backbone of Shelby County. And so I've shown a lot of care and compassion for them as I've championed the cause to increase their wages. You know, this is legislation that I've sponsored, and though we brought it up to $40,000, I don't know how many people have actually tried to live off of $40,000. It's hard, Pepper. It's really hard.
It is.
And so I'm talking to people within the office who, you know, they talk about how they have to leave this job at the clerk's office to go to a second job. And so when I also hear on the other side, you know, citizens talk about just, you know, the attitudes or the poor customer service, it only makes sense. And so these are immediate fixes, but there are also some, you know, some longer term fixes that we're going to have to do. It's going to take getting that new commission and really, you know, lobbying for them to be able to support legislation to increase that wage again. That's not something that the clerk can come in and do. There's some creative things that the clerk can do to be able to rearrange within the budget, but ultimately, the county commission is going to have to lift those wages even higher to make them competitive and something that actually secure county workers, which is very important to me as well.
Yeah, and you have that, you can bridge that relationship already having been served on the commission. So what does an efficient, successfully run county clerk's office look like? Like, let's paint the picture for what, if I were to go there today under your leadership, what would that look like?
You know, in Orange Mound, there's a community leader named Miss Esther Cook, and she says, Brittany, you got to make them see, feel, and touch. And so when I think about the county clerk's office under the Britney Thornton administration, it's one that's visible in reporting, you know, our current progress, our challenges, but also our successes. So it's connected to you. It's one that you know what to expect before you even get there. So when you get to the office, there's no confusion on where to go and who to talk to. You know the procedures because we have them laid out. And when you get to the counter, there is a smiling face ready to walk you through that process, ready to help you and actually leave you better than we found you, whether that be with more resources, more information, or just, you know, better energy than when you walked in. So when we think about people and process, that's going to be the focus of my administration, to set high standards and actually to perform.
Okay, so yeah, let's get into the specifics of like the first 100 days.
Yeah.
Your immediate kind of first day on the ground running, what would be your first short-term goals to just go ahead and get started?
Yeah, some of the beauty in Shelby County is this primary that's coming up on May 5th. Please go out and vote, y'all. This primary that's coming in May 5th is more than likely going to position your next leaders. And so we know we have the primary and the general. And so rather than starting with the 100 days after, you know, the oath is taken, I want to focus on the 100 days after the primary. So leading into the general, there's a great opportunity for, you know, me as the winner. We're going to claim it, to be able to secure the talent that we need to be able to rebuild the base that this office is going to rely on. So that means getting the right leaders in place, casting the vision, making sure that we set the goals that we are going to perform against once, you know, we are in office. And then, of course, studying this office, figuring out, you know, the audits. The state comptroller has come down to be able to do an analysis, looking at the audits, looking at the analysis, figuring out exactly where the holes are in this performance in this office, and coming up with a plan so that when we walk in, it's just execution. So, you know, we're not immediately on day one going to be able to offer you the robust kiosk system that you're going to hear me talk about, but we are going to be able to source the vendor and talk to other county clerks to figure out who they're using and who they recommend that we don't use based on their experience, so that we'll be ready to be able to take immediate legislation to the commission to say, this is how we want to use our budget. We want to be able to get this system, and we want to be able to change this position. So, you know, the first 100 days is going to be swift, because we will have planned for those first 100 days after the primary. And, it's at this point that I really just want people to lean in to understand that these fixes are out in Shelby County. All the solutions are here. We don't have to go to Atlanta and Chicago and New York to find the talent. I believe that the talent is here in Shelby County. So if I'm talking to someone who's ready to support Britney Thornton in this task to repair our broken office, please reach out, because I want to be able to put the right people in place, and I trust that you are out there.
So you were on the commission and you know the budget already. Yeah. So is there any concerns about what the county clerk's office abilities will be with the money that's allocated for it?
Quite the opposite. The budget has always been there. It's the leadership that has been, I want to say lacking in this point, but also want to be respectful for whatever those circumstances are for the current clerk. So, the leadership is necessary to be able to execute the budget that is laid out. And, you get the opportunity to advocate for what you need. So I've seen, some clerks come and come down to the commission and say, listen, what you have given us is not enough, and they've been able to get more funds to be able to do the work that they've cast vision for. So it's contingent upon the leader in place. And so when I think about some fees that are just sitting off to the side to be able to modernize the office, that's what gets me most excited. So this office, we know that modernizing it is not going to be a heavy lift. It's just going to have to be an activation. We're going to have to do what we know we can do when it comes to technology to bring it up to a modern standard and make sure that we're using technology that works. I don't know if you've asked people about the kiosk.
Well, that was one of the questions, but go ahead.
I just keep hearing over and over that the kiosks don't work. So now it becomes a conversation with the vendor, because why are we paying for anything that doesn't work? And so I just look forward to being able to really sit in, the reality. It's hard as a candidate sometimes to be able to just know everything. And so once the keys are passed over, green means go. And we're really going to go after it to be able to manifest everything that we're saying over these next month, weeks or so, to convince the citizens of Shelby County that this is the administration to trust in.
Most definitely. You do a really good job of getting out into the community. So the next question was, what have people told you about the county clerk's office? And you've sprinkled in some of those answers already, but touching on the fact that you're the founder of the nonprofit Juice Orange Mound, and then the Hoop to Be Heard 5-on-5 basketball tourney for District 10, and other a lot of things that you do. So it's no secret that you're out there. You're always asking people. You're doing door knocking. I've seen your flyers and everything on social media. So what have you gathered from people who tell you about the Shelby County Clerk's office?
Because this office touches every household in Shelby County, we've gathered a lot. So there's varied interests. One that fascinates me the most is the interest of the auto dealers. So they talk about how in times past, the turnaround time for these tags have been 7 to 14 days. Now it's over 60 days, and it's costing them money. And so they are so motivated to get involved in this election. It's just very interesting to see these auto dealership leaders just in angst. And so that's been an interesting perspective. But just yesterday, I was in North Memphis canvassing, and the interest of small businesses really came out. Entrepreneurs who feel like, the process of choosing to file or not to file is just one that is just full of questions. And so what's fascinating to me is, as we put these functions into the kiosk, because we know majority of the functions can be done remotely, that's going to free up space. And so I'm so curious to talk to county leaders and, once we get the new mayor, to work with the mayor to figure out, can we make the county clerk's office the front door for small businesses? Right now, there is no true front door. And businesses, and particularly in a city like Memphis, they need supports. And so what does it look like to resource the county's office? As you're filing for your business license, your next couple of steps before you walk out of the door. And so, thinking through how to support entrepreneurs and current stakeholders like auto dealers, and then just residents who just really simply just want to be in and out. I trust that, the plans that we have, in the making, and the vision that we're casting, that it's going to be enough.
Okay. You jumped the gun on this one, but I was going to ask you about fundraising and endorsements, and you dropped a pretty big endorsement from Cook County already. But how is your fundraising efforts? How are those going? And do you have endorsements that you want to share?
Yeah. So I would say that we are competitive. When I saw, the other candidates that filed, we're in the top 2. So when it comes down to it, we are running a serious campaign here. We know that these campaigns cost money, which is a great time for me to pivot over here to just say that, these campaigns cost money. And so if you've heard anything that you've liked today, please support Britney Thornton for Shelby County Clerk. Each vote, I've done the math, costs $7. And so to reach a new voter, your $7 can get us there. But of course, there's room to give many more dollars. And, when it comes to fundraising, I'm just so encouraged to see, major interests like the auto dealers, they write bigger checks down to the $7 donor. Literally, we have individuals who say, you said $7? And they're so motivated because it's an accessible entry point. So from the volunteers to the donors to the endorsers, this campaign has momentum. And over the next month, you're going to see many more endorsements. We're excited to roll out, and just a lot of people power. I'm running, truthfully, to become the people's clerk. And it's a title that really matters to me because this office touches every household. So I want to see a nice cross section of support from everybody. And we've seen a lot of support coming from all around this county. And that makes me very, very happy.
Yeah. And you've done quite a lot of legwork already visiting other county clerks, it seems like already. So that's a great strategy to use. But yeah, that Cook County one, and that's the second largest in the country.
In the country.
Wow.
Yeah.
So really my last question here is just what you mentioned. Yeah, this is a competitive race. I mean, there's 10 Democrats, 1 Republican. We are going to be talking to half of them at least. So what sets you apart?
Yeah, I mentioned earlier, I really believe that I'm the best bang for your buck candidate. When people are looking for a hands-on leader, an experienced executive, and a proven public servant, Britney Thornton has all of that. And so, whether it's serving my community, serving my district, and now running to serve Shelby County, I've really proven that I have a heart for the people and that I'm a competent, capable, and just compassionate leader. And so when I think about, some of the biggest critiques, I've studied this office and I'm just ready to work. And so whether it be, people's interest in putting on the next generation of leadership, which I really want people to really think about. In the next 8 years, a lot is going to change in terms of the vanguard. And so this is a great opportunity to keep a generational leader in, position, because you have to vote your self-interest if you're really trying to win with politics. And so, when I think about the majority interest in Shelby County, the interest of my generation is at the forefront. And so I believe that I am an excellent choice. Of course, I'm biased, but I really believe that I'm an excellent choice to be able to bring what we need to this particular office, which is just order and just, accessibility and efficiency.
Well, a lot of millennials are getting married and buying cars right now, so, that's something to consider. Last question here. Why should people, and feel free to acknowledge your voters, why should people trust you with their vote?
Absolutely. I am Britney Thornton, and I am running to become your next Shelby County Clerk. I hope that you've enjoyed this interview, and I hope to see you join this campaign, which is really moving forward with a lot of momentum, and it needs you to be able to cross the finish line. We know that these elections are slated to have low turnout, and I just want to encourage you as a driver and a voter to support Britney Thornton. When I think about what you deserve the best. And so for the best, start fresh is the theme. And I want to see you happy with the services that you're given. We know that you deserve better, and I look forward to serving you as your next Shelby County Clerk. So Britney Thornton, for the best, start fresh.
All right, I love that punchline. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate your time. Thank you for watching. You can catch all of our candidate series on abc24.com, on the 24 Plus app, or on the ABC 24 app on your phone. But we'll be continuing to cover as many candidates as we can, so stay informed. Shelby County primaries are May 5th. Like you said, get out and vote.
Get out and vote.
Thank you for watching.
Thank you, Pepper.
Thank you.